From a very young age, my dad started getting me a lot of children's books, story books, and he himself had a passion for reading books. I used to see him read a lot of novels, a lot of them, and seeing him read all these books, that's when I actually started to develop a love for reading. Eventually, those children's books and short story books, got replaced by novels, and then I started reading the must-read class series like the Harry Potter series, Hunger Games series, and stuff like that. And eventually, they got replaced by non-fiction books. So I have been really lucky in terms of how I developed this habit of reading books, because I know it can be a really boring thing to do for a lot of people out there, because everybody is not so lucky from childhood you have been introduced to reading a lot of books. In Indian society, we're mostly limited to reading academic books, and nobody encourages us to read novels and stuff like that. There is a certain beauty with novels. If you truly love reading novels, and you will when I say when you read that particular passage, you can actually imagine that scene happening in your head, like it's a movie going through your head. So anyways, eventually I shifted from children's books to novels, and that's how I got into this I developed this love for reading books, and it has persisted till date. Right nowadays, I could probably work more on my reading habit. I have been reading a lot less than I would actually want to, but I should definitely work on it. But eventually, that brings us to this video. This video is gonna be my 5 recommendations. Fiction books, not non-fiction, because if you're a beginner reader, I would recommend that you start reading something that is going to be fun and you're not going to find it boring, and eventually you can shift to non-fiction categories book, which actually require a lot of deep thinking, and it's a slow and difficult read. So this video is going to be about my top 5 fiction book recommendations, which you can read to kickstart your beginner reading journey. And also I also run a Bookstagram club, which is basically a book club on Instagram by the name Contemplating Adult Book Club. Yes, I have changed. Previously it used to be Meta Book Club, now it's Contemplating Adult Book Club, because the Meta name has been taken up by Facebook and already a book club exists by that name. Anyways, so I'll link that in the description. We basically post out monthly recommendations for you to read, and we only post out books that I have personally read, and eventually we post a couple of books here and there in our stories, but all the posts that we do, I have read all of them, and these are books, trust me, you will never find them to be boring. You will love each and every chapter of these books. That is for sure, guaranteed. Anyways, let's begin. Okay, so we're gonna start with number 5 and proceed to 1. So at number 5, we have a novel which I personally believe is the best work of our beloved Chetan Bhagat sir, and it's One Indian Girl by Chetan Bhagat. This was an extremely fun read for me, and I read it a few years ago when it was first published. And it's about a girl named Radhika Mehta. She's from a traditional Indian middle class family, but she's a high achiever and she's a highly ambitious woman. And we see her evolve and become her own person as she goes through a few romantic relationships, and we also get to see how Indian society treats women through a woman's perspective. So it does contain some PG-18 stuff, so parental guidance is required, but in some places. But it's a really fun book to read, and I would highly recommend. It's a very entertaining book as well, so I would highly recommend anyone to read this book. One Indian Girl by Chetan Bhagat. I actually look up to Radhika in how in manners, the way she is with her, how she treats her work. She's a really ambitious woman and I respect her for that. So this is a really good read, must read. So if you're ever gonna try reading Chetan Bhagat's book, this is I think one of his finest books ever. Great job. Anyways, moving to number 4. At number 4 we have No Exit by Taylor Adams. No Exit by Taylor Adams was my first introduction into the thriller world of books, and it's an absolutely amazing read. It's about a college student named Darby Thorne, and she is on her way to Utah to see her sick mother. And on the way she gets stranded at a rest stop due to a snow blizzard, and there she gets stranded with 2 other men and with very low cell phone battery, and there she thinks outside a van parked at the rest stop she can see a child's hand from the window locked in a cage. It's a child abduction case, and she ends up rescuing the child, and it's a whole thriller ride how she rescues it, and it's an amazing read. Absolutely recommend this book if you really want to read a thriller book. And by the way, I do not read romantic books a lot, but if you want to read romantic books as well, I will throw in a romantic book as a bonus towards the end of the video, so you can directly skip to that part, but I would recommend you stick for number 3 to 1 because those are absolutely amazing books to read. At number 3 we have The Immortals of Meluha by Amish Tripathi. It is the first book of Amish verse, because like he has written books of, and it's also the first book of the Shiva Triology series. It is a series of 3 books. The first book is The Immortals of Meluha, then we have The Secret of the Nagas, and the final book is The Oath of the Vayuputras. This book, Amish Tripathi has done such an amazing job in all 3 books. This is a must read. I don't care if you read even Harry Potter or not. As an Indian, you must read. As a Hindu, you must read this. The book is based in the land of Meluha, and Meluhans believe that Lord Shiva is their fabled savior called Neelkant. And the way Amish Tripathi has delivered this book, it's just, I can't even begin to put it into words. Such an amazing book this was. And I still remember a line from, I don't know which of the 3 books this line was from. I think it was from the Oath of the, no, it was from the, it was from the 2nd book or the 3rd book. I don't remember, but there is this line in this book which I still remember to till this date. And I truly believe it as well, that the line between evil and good is a vast expanse in which many can exist without being either. So I really love that line, and that this is an absolutely must read for you. And this book, I can guarantee sort of that this will make you fall in love with reading. So read this book. Begin with the Shiva Triology. Okay, so at number 2 we have The Silent Patient by Alex. I can't pronounce it. It's Michaelides. The Silent Patient by Mr. Alex. And this book was recommended to me by my senior Ishadi. So shout out to Ishadi for recommending me this book. It's a thriller book and a crime book, and I finished it in 2 days because I absolutely loved it. I couldn't stop turning the pages, and it's about a woman who viciously murders her husband, and then she chooses not to speak a word. She murders him and then she says nothing, and she's in prison for that because she is refusing to speak a word, and she gets convicted for her husband's murder, and then she's in prison for that. And a therapist wants to uncover why she did so, why did she murder her husband, and why she remains silent and does not speak. And it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, you wouldn't know till the end what actually happened, and then you'll be like, oh my god, how did I not see this coming? But it's an absolutely wonderful read. I totally recommend The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm sorry, Mr. Michaelides, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Anyways, absolute must read. And at number 1, we have my favorite book of all times. It is The Cradle Will Fall by Mary Higgins Clark. I actually read this book in the hardcover version, but I do not have that on me right now. So this was actually the book that made me fall in love with reading novels. It's also a thriller book. As I told you, I don't read romantic novels. It's not that I look down upon it, it's just that it's not my style, because I've never really read these books. Okay, so even though the title says The Cradle Will Fall, and I understand if the cradle makes you think of a baby, but this story isn't about a baby, although fetuses are involved. It's not about a baby, but it does involve the study gynecology in it somewhere. Anyways, so I'll read out the preview to you so that you can understand what the book is actually about. A minor road accident lands County Prosecutor Katie DeMaio in Westlake Hospital, and that night from her window at the hospital, she thinks that she saw a man load a woman's body into the trunk of a car. Or was it just a sleeping pill-induced nightmare? Spoiler alert, it was actually a body. Anyways, it's an absolutely amazing read, and I kept this book at number 1 position because this was the book that actually made me fall in love with reading books, and that eventually led me to, open a Bookstagram club on Instagram, whatever. But still, I hope you guys like this video, but wait, for all of you hopeless romantics waiting out there, for your bonus romantic book, I haven't read a lot of romantic books, trust me, so my recommendation isn't possibly great, but I have read some classics. So there is of course The Fault in Our... By the way, did you know that even a movie is made on The Cradle Will Fall? A movie is there, but as always, books are always better than the movies. I don't care what you guys say, books are always better than movies, because you know why? Because there is an objective reason behind this. For movies, you have a budget and there are limitations with what you can show and do with current technology, but with books, it's in your imagination. There is no budget, you can write anything, imagine anything, and it's happening right in front of your eyes, inside your mind. But for movies, that's not the case. So of course, books are always, mostly, maximum 99.999% of the time, books are better than movies. Okay, for the hopeless romantics still waiting for their romantic book recommendation, I have Fault in Our Stars to recommend to you, but at the end you will definitely cry. I did not cry because people had already spoiled the book for me. At the end it's not going to be so happy, but you will end up crying at the end. So even if you watch the movie, that's what happens, you end up crying at the end. The Fault in Our Stars, I would recommend The Fault in Our Stars. That's a classic, And then there's a book called The Hating Game. I will link them all in the description below because I know you guys won't do the hard work, lazy people, but still. There is The Hating Game, also on which a movie has been made. Both on movie exists, both on The Fault in Our Stars and The Hating Game. And also I recently read a romantic romantic novel called Everything, and it was may. Okay, I'm sure the author did do a great job. It's just that romantic novels aren't my thing. Anyway, so I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching, and do like, do share, do subscribe, because that means just show some love so that I can, every time you guys like, subscribe, and put some nice comments on my videos, it makes me feel like I'm doing something. I'm providing some value to you guys, okay? Even though I'm providing at least some value to you guys. So do give a like and do comment in public, okay? Please. Okay. Thank you for watching. Bye. Love you.